Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. All of our lives and jobs have been impacted by the coronavirus, and we're having to do things differently. But one of the first people that we really knew at the show here that had to put himself in isolation is Dan Desrochers from the Lexington Herald-Leader. You are on about day 9, is it? Day 8 or day 9 of self-isolation, of being in quarantine. Thanks for joining us. First of all, what's it been like, Dan?
This is all being done out of an abundance of caution, right? So I didn't necessarily come into anybody who actually had the virus. I came into contact with someone who was at a conference with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. So we were in the early stages of this, and we were reading a lot about it. And basically, the safest thing to do, of course, was to self quarantine, right? So I'm being a little bit of a pedantic here, but there's quarantine is when you're healthy. Isolation is when you're sick, and
Okay.
this is something that I've learned in reporting this, that there are two different words for it. It's annoying, of course, right? I'm not going to lie. It's annoying to have to stay in my house. I feel really guilty that people are picking up groceries for me and bringing things to my house. I feel enormously guilty about that. But at the same time, this is probably the responsible thing to do. Yes, I'm young. Yes, we see this with younger people. They don't necessarily have the same effects, but at the same time, you want to be a good steward of the community. And you want to make sure that you're not carrying the virus to infect somebody else, because there are a lot of people who are vulnerable to this thing. And it's going to be kind of scary. I think that we're still in the early stages right now, and that surge is going to come. And it's just a matter of seeing how prepared we are when the surge does come.
Now, just to clarify, you've had no symptoms. You've not felt bad or anything the last week.
I've had no symptoms. I feel absolutely fine. Yeah, no, the only symptom is stir craziness, but I finished a couple of books, so that's good.
Well, we're all trying to work through this new reality, and I'm not trying to get too deep here, but in this relatively short period of time, have you learned something about yourself, about your need for social interaction, anything that's things that we maybe take for granted before this pandemic set its sights on us?
I think that I'm going to come out of this with a renewed sense of humanity, right? So, like, I am so impressed by the wonderful friends that I have that have offered to bring me groceries, right? Like, there are people, there are people who are maybe in the demographic where they should be probably trying to avoid the supermarket, who are still going to the supermarket and getting me things. And that is an enormously encouraging thing to see, right? We have a really beautiful sense of community here in Kentucky. And this was a great opportunity for me to witness that. I mean, it's an unfortunate opportunity for me to witness it, but it really has kind of really lifted up my faith in Lexington and my faith as in this community as a whole.
It's almost like the further apart we have to be, the closer we have come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
And it's so powerful. I mean, like, that's the thing, right? Obviously, I'm writing a lot of stories about the new cases and the things that are popping up, but at the same time, there are a lot of helpers out there, right? And it's kind of cheesy, but I always come back to that old Mr. Rogers quote, right? Like, when you're in times of tragedy, you look for the helpers, and there are so many people out there who are picking up the members of the community and are doing the right thing to really help those who need help.
Well, Dan, we will continue to follow your work on the Lexington Herald-Leader and Kentucky.com. Stay safe and get out and about if you can next week. At least go grocery shopping for yourself.
Yeah, and if anybody needs help, DM me on Twitter. I can pick up some groceries for others too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. We appreciate it. Daniel Desrochers from the Lexington Herald-Leader. More Hey Kentucky right after this.